So our next speaker really is Andre Spencer, who will be speaking to us about designing for homeAbilities. And Andre is an architectural designer with AGS Designs. AGS Designs is a small, innovative general architectural practice firm that specializes in accessibility design. As a firm with highly qualified design and building specialists, AGS strives to keep in context the project's requirements and specific needs, budgets, and time constraints by creating innovative and practical solutions in the diverse and constantly evolving architectural and accessible industry. Andre?
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Thank you also for those great peanut butter and chocolate molasses cookies. We have to steal some recipes. We were asked here to come and present the sort of top home modifications that I've encountered in the past 10 or 12 years of doing design into the accessibility field. I do run a general practice firm, and how I got into accessibility design is back in 2001. I had a dear friend of mine who had a spinal cord injury, and he did go through a long lawsuit, and that's another story, but at the end, he hired my services to design a new home for him. He lived in a very small space, and unfortunately, with, I think even, can you hear?
Just a little louder.
A little louder? Okay. And so he lived in a small apartment, and unfortunately, he was a tall gentleman, and with his electric wheelchair, he had a 7-foot radius. Now the building code says a minimum of 5 feet, but 5 feet is not a lot of room. And when you go from 5 feet to 7 feet, your walls, your corners are banged, and there's not a lot of space to maneuver. So I decided to take on the project, and we designed a house for him. And then when we got to the construction stage, or to the stage where we wanted to hire a contractor, when I was sort of doing interviews, I didn't have a very good feeling on how to proceed with a contractor. It's a different sort of field of construction, whereas you need to spend more time, whether it's in the design, whether it's in the construction, and sometimes builders, they're fast track people, they're based on budgets, and they'll make very quick decisions that are not necessarily for the client themselves, but mostly for the budgets. And I'm not knocking off contractors, I'm just saying, this is sort of the industry that we're in. So I volunteered as a project manager for Stefan and for the client, and then I said, well, since I've designed a home, I'll take it to the next step and help to build it. It was a great experience. I really wanted to be the eyes and the ears for my client. He's in a wheelchair. He's not always able to access the property or be around to make decisions. So I really was, his ears and eyes, and try to communicate as much as possible, even at times to roll him in onto, the first floor platform and have him sort of have an interactive involvement and say, okay, well, yes, this space is sort of working through. And sometimes, in any construction project, things have to change, whether it's material, whether it's just room sizes and so on and so forth. But often, a 2D drawing can be difficult to read. When you actually get on site, we have a 3D picture, a real life picture of how things are actually going to be built, and then therefore we can make adjustments if necessary as we go on forward. So basically that's how I started with the disability. It sort of went from that stage, and I've been, I do general practice with residential and commercial work on the side, but I've always had sort of 1 or 2 projects a year since then. And that's why I'm here today. So basically I call it designing with homeAbilities because I'm not big on the institutional words that you'll call barrier-free or physical disabilities, because I think when you're designing, you want to take the actual abilities of people that they do have and enhance the actual design around them. We don't want to limit those abilities that remain. We actually want to make sure that we can support it and we can actually give them as much independence as possible within their own home. So we've talked about this. We'll just switch over here. So there's about 10, there's more than 10 modifications, but I think we sort of listed it down, shortened it down to about 10 on the list. So I'll be going through slides of photos of projects that I've been involved with, and some are in new construction, some are in renovations to existing homes. And more often the designs are for additions and interior renovations to new construction. Obviously the costs are higher in new construction. It doesn't have really a category of which ones are more important than the other. I'm just sort of listed from 1 to 10. So the first one being access to the home. Well, we all know that steps are often an issue. Whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you've had a hip replacement or you've got arthritic knees. Ironically, my father's in town for the weekend, and he is arthritic. He was a teacher, as a phys ed teacher, and he's about 60. I think he's 67 now. And I realized, boy, he's starting to limp and limp. And maybe one day I'm going to have to be involved in designing something for him, because his knees are getting worse and worse over the years. And I think it's sort of a good understanding of how everyday's people's lives really change over the years and how it affects their mobility within the home. So, excuse me, you'll see on the left, what we've done is just basically ramp an interlock ramp to the front door. It doesn't have to be an eyesore. I think we can, integrate architectural features that allow for these homes to not look like it's an institutional home. Basically, we just ramp it in. It looks like a normal home. I'm too far away from the mic. So I'm just going to show you a few options that we've done over the years. And one is, we've done the interlock ramp, and in the back of this home, we had a deck built. And the deck was obviously wood construction, and we just ramped it down. And the lengths of the ramps may vary over the individual themselves. There are minimal codes that you do have to follow, but when it comes to a residential design, sometimes you have a little bit more flexibility based on if somebody has an electric wheelchair, then that's a lot easier to just have an increased ramp depending on the length that we have to play with. So this is just basically, we have this small little picture in the center. We have an access to the bedroom, to the deck, and it's just a small little wooden ramp that you provide access to. Different options. Same thing for the garage. It's the client has a van with the ramp, and it allows them to go from entering into the garage and then just ramping up into the home. So the access to different floors, I think Sandy talked a little bit about it, different types of lifts and elevators and so on and so forth. So basically these are certain different types of equipment that you will see on the market. One, it's called an inclined platform lift, which is essentially a stair lift with a platform that on the left side of your picture, you'll see that it's folded up so people can actually walk up and down the stairs without it being in the way. And then when you need to use it, you actually just fold the platform. It goes up or down. And as you can see, in the wheelchair just rolls right on top. And then if you don't require it, then you just fold it back in, and there's a call button. You can either goes up or down. So different options depending on the client's requirements and the budget. This is one of them. You also have sort of the platform lift, as we talked about. This will limit you in terms of how many stories you can go up. But it, it does a job. And this was a bungalow. It went from the ground floor to the basement, so it was something we could work with, and it worked well within the design. So on the left, you basically have a platform that has a little door. Then the center picture is the one that goes to the basement. So you come in from one side and you go out on the other side. There's no turning within the platform lift at all. You just go straight through. And that's basically sort of a half wall that goes around the platform lift. So, it's just a simple feature that adds to the design of the home. And, a lot of people, I think this gentleman has had a lot of people who walk through the house with people with disabilities and were asking, where's your platform lift? And it's right behind you. So now we have elevators. Elevators are obviously the more costly option, but they do give you more options in terms of how many floors you can access. Sometimes you can have up to 4 stops easily, where you can access, the basement, the ground floor, the garage, and also a second floor. But it just looks like a normal closet, sometimes. It's just, the picture on the left is actually just a regular colonial wooden door that opens up into the elevator, which is on the right. And it gives you an access to the garage, and you can see the difference in level from, if you look at the left picture, the left door is actually the elevator door, and the right door is actually where the main level is. So it allows this person to be able to access to the garage without having, to take a different route. And obviously it goes all the way to the basement. Number 3, the bathrooms are often home modification that's required. In this case, I had the experience with a client who had to be lifted from their bed onto their chair and then rolled to the bathroom and then lifted again onto a ceiling track so they can access the bathtub. So we tried, in fact, I think we had Motion Specialties install this track. It was a complete, it's a full ceiling track where it starts above the bed, and I think I actually talk about this later on with more detailed pictures. And it goes from right on top of the bed directly to the bathroom. So we at least eliminated one step. And sometimes some of the care workers, they're smaller people, and it gets, it's heavy. It's difficult to maneuver. So we wanted to eliminate. We're trying not only to eliminate the number of steps, but a number of also injuries that may happen to care workers as well. So it slides right into a bathroom where it has a bath on the right, and it has a roll-in shower on the left. We have no doors. Doors are just sometimes a nuisance. It's just a master bedroom. They have a door from the master bedroom to the rest of the house. There's no requirement to have a door. And it also would limit us to have a full ceiling track, a continuous ceiling track. And this is another addition where we've added the elevator is actually a rise on the top floor into the bathroom of the master bedroom. And the reason for that is that's basically the only place where we were able to put in this elevator to accommodate all floors. But we've been able to integrate into the design where it doesn't really impede on any spaces within the household. So you see on the left side picture where you've got the walk-in shower, and on the right it's actually the elevator. And the elevator, you'll see from the picture on the right, on the top right, is we have a sliding door, and it's mostly open all the time, and it gives them access to the whole second floor just from there. So more often than not, this client will use the elevator to access their bathroom and their bedroom. So it's actually quite convenient just to have it there. This is another roll-in shower on the left. As I mentioned, we try to limit the doors. We try to limit the steps or even thresholds. Quite often now, the whole bathroom is a whole floor with a drain somewhere, and you know, it's when you roll up with a commode, it's still all wet anyway. So you might as well just not limit the amount of space where the water can be retained. Let it drain, and just use the whole bathroom as your floor system. So on the right is actually a prefabricated fiberglass shower. So you also have options that they come barrier-free. You may not see the bottom of it, but there's actually just about a 3-inch step to the shower. But it comes with the grab bars and with a lower step onto the shower. So Sandy talked about kitchens. If you do cooking, but not all the time, then it's something to consider. For example, in this case, we wanted to give the client the option not to, wasn't going to spend the whole day cooking, but give them the opportunity to at least, or the independence to at least have access to a microwave or even an oven, and have sort of a split island bar top where he would just roll and just hang out. And if you wanted just to throw something into the microwave, then it was easy accessible. Now he did have it on, home and care as well at the same time, so that's why we're able to sort of split the amount of tasks required, the activities required for a client. In this case, what we did is we basically split the kitchen in half. We didn't give access to the sink, as it didn't require to have access underneath, but we've given him access to a microwave, which is on the counter on the left, and we've lowered the oven in case that he wanted to just throw something into the oven. This is another, it's a small kitchenette. Sometimes we're involved in the design where it's sort of a little suite within the house, whereas one of the member of the family has a disability, but because they have a lot of services and care workers come in and work there, and they need a little bit of more space, and it's more for to have everybody to work independent. And we want, this person has suffered a stroke and was quadriplegic, so they had a lot of care workers that worked with her, but they also wanted to give her an independent area where she can do her things, have her own bath and her own kitchen without having to interrupt always the household itself. So we just made a little kitchenette that serves a purpose. So right across from it is basically, they have a linen closet, and then there's sort of the bed living area around. So it's all open space, a lot of natural lighting. Same thing here, a lot of closets. In fact, the closets you see on the right are the famous IKEA PAX closets. They're quite cheap, and they're very versatile, and a lot of options in terms of adjustments to the heights of what is it that you want in your closet. So it's a really good system. This is just access to bedrooms. The one on the left is from the bedroom to the washroom, and the one to the right is the same bedroom with access to an office space. This one is just an open bedroom, living room space, and that's all that you really needed and required. So we just didn't want to, limit this person's ability to move around. It's just integrate the walls that are required and leave the other walls out. In this case, it just seems to work within their environment. So this is another bedroom. This to the left, we've talked about laundry. Sandy spoke about laundry. In this case, someone else did the laundry, but wanted to have the laundry close to the master bedroom. So what we did is we brought the washer and dryer upstairs into an existing closet space, and we just made it just an upstairs laundry. On the right is another laundry, which you can't see. It's the second door on the right, but the first door straight in the room, it leads to the rest of the house, and then the second door is another little stacked laundry facility. 6 is a mobility within the home. Basically, the more space you have to maneuver, the best it is. So if you can have open space, keep it all open as much as you can. In this case, we sort of split the areas within the tile. So we gave it a path with the ceramic tile. As you can see, the gray over here, the picture on the right, where it sort of divides the living room with the dining room, and it always continues. We wanted to have sort of a tile that has more of a rough surface. When the person came into their house, then at least they can just continue onto the path of travel without having to get onto floors and scratch floors and so on and so forth. So it eliminates all that process. So this is an addition or a renovation, excuse me. And on the left, you can, what we may able-bodied persons may not even think of as just a one step from the ground floor to the living room may be a big issue for somebody who has mobility issues. So what we've done is we've just we've made the living room, we've increased the height of the living room floor to match the rest of the main floor. And we've opened up the walls as much as we could so that this person can easily maneuver around the living room and the kitchen area. They're small little changes, but they're essential in someone's everyday life. This number 7 is a transfer or lifts. This is a ceiling track, as you can tell. So the picture on the left starts from it goes beyond the bed, but essentially somebody can lift the person from the bed or the chair beside it, and it's automated, so you can actually go forward with it's a powered system, go all the way to the living room, to the bathroom. So you can tell it's got a little S curve, and we have a little bulkhead, so you walk into the room, basically you don't even see there's a ceiling track there. So. And then there's you can tell on the right there's a bathtub, so it leads all the way to the bathtub without having people to, go through 2 or 3 steps of taking this individual out of their bed and into a wheelchair, and again, repeat the same steps. There's also home automation. That's with technology now, it's getting a lot easier to be able to control your heating systems or mechanical systems or even security cameras from just a laptop. In this case, we have a touch screen somewhere within the house, and this client also has a little screen on his bedside table that will allow him to either, when somebody rings at the door, there's a camera, sees who the person is, and with the click of a button, lets the door unlock by itself, so people can have access. So it gives a sense of security that someone can actually, be living independently and still have control of the doors leading to the exterior or the mechanical systems, whether you want to increase your air conditioning or increase the heat. It's just a touch of a button. You'll see on the picture on the bottom right is actually just a magnet, whereas when he would roll with his wheelchair right beside it, the magnet would sort of just activate the unlock button, and then this way you don't have to worry about keys or anything else to access the front door, or this is the door from the garage. So exterior access, it's something as simple as this, as providing just easy access to the backyard, front yard, side yard. It's just all the way around to the house, and gives him the liberty to just be outside and enjoy himself. And that's it. There's just one, thing we've, number 10, where I mentioned cost. I didn't actually did a slide for the cost, but it does, limit from a platform lift to an elevator in terms of fees. So it can restrict sort of design options, but it's something that you always have to really sit down and think about on the actual budgets, because it does change throughout the process. So thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Thanks, Andre.